All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we're looking at this really fascinating paradox that's playing out on the high seas. It comes from the latest Seafarers Happiness Index, that big global survey that checks in on how sailors are doing. And what it's showing is just wild. Sailors are finally getting the one thing they've always dreamed of, but it's coming at a cost, and it's a cost nobody saw coming.
So check this out. The numbers really lay it all bare. On one hand, you've got connectivity, access to the internet, which has just gone through the roof. I mean, we're talking high speed, unlimited access for the first time ever. But at the same time, their overall happiness, it's literally plummeting. So that's the big question, right? How can the very thing that was supposed to cure loneliness at sea actually be making it worse? Okay, so Section 1, the long-awaited salvation. To really get what's going on here, you have to understand just what a game changer this technology was. I mean, for decades, this was the dream. So first, let's look at why getting high-speed internet felt like nothing short of a miracle on board.
And look, the reality is there's just no going back now. For the younger generation of sailors, Gen Z, a ship without something like Starlink is a total deal breaker. It's not a perk anymore, not a bonus. They see it as a basic right, as essential as getting hot water or a decent meal. So, for the shipping companies, this has become absolutely crucial for attracting and, more importantly, keeping young talent.
And the impact? I mean, it is just undeniable. Get this. A whopping 77% of sailors said that having good internet access has been critical for their mental well-being. 77%. That is a huge number. And it just proves that this technology was filling a massive void, a need that had gone unmet for so long.
And it really hits home with quotes like this: seeing your child's first steps from the middle of the Pacific Ocean. See, this isn't just about scrolling through Instagram or watching Netflix. This is about a fundamental change in what it means to be a human at sea. Think about it. Before this, you were lucky to get a rare, super expensive, crackly 2-minute satellite call home. Now, you can have a crystal clear live video call. You're not just hearing about your kids' first steps, you're seeing them. You're actually there.
Another huge thing that's come from all this connectivity is a new way to get mental health support. So these anonymous AI chatbots are popping up and they're available 24/7. Sailors can talk about stress, anxiety, whatever's on their mind, and they don't have to worry about their captain finding out or being judged. But, and this is a big but, it's another one of those paradoxes. While getting help is easier than ever, they're turning to an app, not a person, not their captain, not their crewmates, and that, in its own quiet way, can make them feel even more alone.
All right, Section 2, the price of connection. Because, well, that digital lifeline, it turns out it's attached to a really heavy anchor, one that's pulling down the entire social fabric that's held maritime life together for centuries.
And wow, the change is it's night and day. Captains talk about how the common room used to be alive after a shift. You'd have movies on, guys playing cards, just telling stories. It was basically team building, but it just happened naturally every single night. And now, total silence. The common room is a ghost town. The ship goes quiet because every single sailor is alone in their cabin, headphones on, just completely lost in their own little digital world.
And this quote from a senior mechanic, it just captures it all perfectly. He said, "I became a guest on my own ship." He talks about how he used to know everything about his junior crew, their problems, what they were excited about, because they'd just chat, they'd hang out. Now, he literally has to go and knock on their cabin doors, and half the time they just tell him they're busy on a video call. That whole informal system, of mentoring and just looking out for each other, it's just gone, vanished.
So this new kind of isolation has a really dangerous side effect. It's something that psychologists are actually calling the emotional knockout blow. Think about it. In the old days, bad news from home was slow. It was filtered through the captain. Now, you can get a text message in the middle of your watch while you're navigating a massive ship telling you about a death in the family, just like that. In an instant, you're in shock, your focus is completely shattered, and the person standing right next to you has absolutely no idea because you guys just don't talk anymore.
And yup, the consequences are already showing up in the cold, hard data. This is alarming. Recent reports are now linking 20%, that's 1 in every 5 incidents at sea caused by human error, to fatigue from late-night internet use. It makes sense, right? People are staying up at all hours trying to match time zones to talk to family, and that exhaustion, it's directly leading to some really dangerous mistakes on the job.
Okay, so Section 3,
The attempt to find balance. Because, with all these safety incidents piling up and the insurance claims that come with them, the industry finally realized, okay, we can't just talk about how great this is. They had to start managing the downsides. It was time to actually do something.
And the first big response is coming in the form of new international rules. Starting January 1st, 2026, some new regulations are kicking in. They're part of what's called the STCW Convention, which is basically the global rulebook for training sailors. And for the first time, it's going to tackle the digital world head on. We're talking new rules on stuff like digital harassment and cyberbullying, and also mandatory training for the whole crew on how to keep their personal devices secure.
So that raises a really important question. What's the real cybersecurity threat here? I mean, what are we actually talking about? It's probably not what you're thinking. This isn't some Hollywood movie where a hacker takes over the steering of the ship. No, it's way more practical and honestly kind of boring.
Okay, so here's how it really goes down. The critical thing to remember is that the network on the ship, it's shared. The same internet the crew's using to stream Netflix is the one the captain needs for vital operational data. So, step 1, a crew member downloads something sketchy on their phone, and it's got malware. Step 2, that malware starts flooding the shared network with junk traffic. And now step 3, the captain can't get a critical storm warning map to download in time. That's it. That's the real threat. It's about bandwidth and access, not about hackers in a dark room.
So beyond the official rules, ship owners themselves are starting to experiment. They're trying to re-engineer the social life on board. The big idea is creating these gadget-free zones. So designated areas, usually the mess hall during meals, where personal devices are just straight up banned. The whole point is to force people, and yeah, force is probably the right word, to put their phones down and actually have a conversation with the person next to them. They're trying to artificially create those moments of connection that used to just happen.
So where does this all leave us? Well, this brings us to our final section, a new challenge for the future. Because ultimately, what we are all witnessing here is a massive social experiment playing out in real time. Starlink wasn't just a new tool they added to the ship. It has completely rewritten centuries of maritime culture, of tradition, and it's done it in just a handful of years. And this is really the core challenge, isn't it? It's about finding a balance. Balancing that vital connection to your home, which is thousands of miles away, with a connection to the person standing right next to you in the middle of a storm. Starlink absolutely solved that ancient problem of being cut off from family. But in the process, it created a totally new and maybe even more complicated kind of isolation from the very crew we rely on to survive. And that leaves us with one last big question to think about. For a generation whose digital life is their real life, are we trying to solve a 21st century problem with 20th century thinking? We're telling them to put away their phones to connect. But what if for them, a deep conversation over text is just as real and meaningful as one face-to-face? Are these gadget-free zones actually solving the problem? Or are we just creating a new kind of isolation by cutting them off from the world they actually consider home? It really feels like we've only just started to figure out how to navigate these new waters.